Getting on the same page, that's the challenge for the Democrats now that Hillary Clinton is their presidential nominee. But Bernie Sanders is not dropping out. This afternoon, President Obama made his support for Clinton official, offering up a recorded endorsement on her campaign website.
Look, I know how hard this job can be. That's why I know Hillary will be so good at it. In fact, I don't think there's ever been someone so qualified to hold this office. So I want those of you who've been with me from the beginning of this incredible journey to be the first to know that I'm with her. I am fired up, and I cannot wait to get out there and campaign for Hillary.
Earlier in the day, Obama met with the Vermont senator and darling of the progressive wing of the party to talk about where the Dems go from here. Sanders said he plans on staying in the race at least through next week's primary in D.C. Despite the fact that he isn't conceding defeat, Sanders did make it clear he'll do whatever he can to make sure Donald Trump is not elected president.
I spoke briefly to Secretary Clinton on Tuesday night, and I congratulated her on her very strong campaign. I look forward to meeting with her in the near future to see how we can work together to defeat Donald Trump and to create a government which represents all of us and not just the 1%.
And speaking of the progressive wing of the party, what's up with Trump attack dog Elizabeth Warren? Last night it was reported Warren will officially endorse Clinton. Who do you think she was going to endorse? Martin O'Malley? In any case, joining us are Clinton supporter Shannon O'Brien, former state treasurer, former candidate for governor on the Democratic side, and Scot Lehigh, who's a columnist for the Boston Globe. Scott, so the president did what we knew he would do. We just didn't know when. How much does it matter?
Oh, I think it matters. I think it matters in terms of sort of ushering Bernie out of the race, maybe a little helping with his hurt feelings a little bit. They had a nice meeting and
at Bernie's request, though, not at Obama's request.
And then a little bit later, he quite clearly the message is, "Hey, we're moving on, Bernie, whether you're in this thing or not. You can campaign next week in Washington D.C., but we're rallying around Hillary." And Bernie changed his tone a little bit, I think, from what it had been in the run up to the meeting and the couple days before the primary.
How much do you think about it? He's cracked 50, which is the percent. He's more popular by a lot than either of the two people who want to succeed him. Does it really make a tangible difference? They are going to go out campaigning together, apparently, in Wisconsin next week. It does.
I think it makes a huge
Why?
difference. It's speaking to disaffected Bernie Sanders voters. You know, I'm on Facebook, you know, and even though you say you can't find me on Twitter, I am on Facebook. And I look at a number of different posts. I have friends that are, you know, supporting Trump, supporting Hillary, supporting Bernie. But the Bernie people seem to be very angry right now. And I think, as I was 8 years ago, a Hillary supporter who felt that she had even greater standing to continue to run and to bring it to the Democratic convention, you have to give those supporters time to sort of absorb the loss and then realize why they need to fall in line.
You know what I don't quite, I watch these shows every night and I shouldn't, not shows mine, I do of course, but these other cable shows. You know, what is she going to give him? Does he want the who cares about the platform? What does Hillary Clinton do to make Bernie Sanders feel as respected as he feels he needs to be and probably should be?
Well, it's an interesting issue because Bernie has proposed a humongous amount of spending. He's proposed $33 trillion in new spending over a decade. She has proposed about $1 trillion, or 1.1, somewhere in there, of new spending over a decade.
So how does she bridge
You can't
that
just
gap?
say all of this stuff we're going to give you. What she does is she talks about rhetorically the issues he has drawn attention to, the importance of this, the importance of that.
Senator, do you support Secretary of State Clinton? Do you support the $15 minimum wage that Senator Sanders does? What does she say?
I think she says, well, I'm with 12 and we leave it up to different states to do what they can, I suppose. But they aren't on the same page, and there is a large fiscal gap. The good thing about Hillary, though, she actually has an idea of how she's going to pay for what she's doing, and Bernie had a $15 trillion over a decade gap in what he was going to do.
Not only did he not answer my question, he made my question even more dramatically important. How does she bridge a gap in a way, forget Sanders for the moment, but so that Sanders' 27-year-old supporters in wherever decide she is our woman? Maybe she's not our first choice, but she's a fine second choice.
They're not in love with her now. They may never be in love with her. but they are going to now have to look at what the alternative is. And when you go online and see some of the rabid anti-Hillary commentary that is made by a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters, you realize that there's work to be done. But also time will go a long way towards helping that, and also having the president, having Elizabeth Warren, having those standard bearers of the party that those people may be in love with, that will go a long way towards helping.
Speaking of you-know-who for a second, what's the primary job of a good vice presidential candidate?
Attack.
Who does it better than Elizabeth Warren?
She's
doing it again tonight with Joe Biden.
She likes to attack. There's no doubt about that.
He's a loud, nasty, thin-skinned fraud, she's about to say tonight of Donald Trump. Is this not an indication that this is more than just her good, loyal Democratic Party thing and that she can't stand Donald Trump? This is exactly what, as you said, good partners on a ticket do.
I can't imagine those two want a ticket together, though.
Why?
Because she is so much. She's very powerful where she is, giving her critiques to the national critiques very significant. She's her own figure with her own power base. Secondly, I think they're kind of far apart on a lot of things. I think she would rather
be
be
Johnson and Kennedy.
Well, Johnson and Kennedy, but she's this national figure. Johnson was sort of an inside the
he
Senate
was.
figure, and she's this figure with this large following. She would be like Hubert Humphrey joining with Johnson and having to mute himself if she joined with Hillary. So I mean, she's said to be intrigued by it. I frankly don't think it makes particular sense for her, and I actually don't think she's all that good. I think she's good at the planned attack, but I don't think she's all that good spontaneously on her feet. The whole
Elizabeth Warren
run from the press thing.
Well, the one thing Sharon, neither of them are crazy about the press. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, apparently, according to Annie Linsky, your colleague.
Why wouldn't they be?
Annie Linsky tweeted that she is going to announce on Rachel Maddow, which is a pretty soft place to do it, that she's endorsing Hillary Clinton tonight. Is it as implausible as he thinks it is? A ton of Democratic senators now are saying she's the right choice. Warren should be the choice of Clinton.
I think she'd be a great choice. I'm not sure she's the best choice for either her or for Hillary, but I do think that she plays a marvelous role. And while she is a national figure, this further solidifies her position as a real leader within the Democratic Party.
Why is she the only one doing the attacking? I mean, relentlessly, day after day.
Because I think that she is the only woman in the Senate who has yet, the only Democratic woman in the Senate who has yet to endorse Hillary Clinton. So she has to keep a lot of those people happy as well. So this helps her balance that.
One last thing. I'm obsessed with this. I'm going to try to get over it, but I can't quite yet. And you're the perfect person to talk to, and so is he. Unless things change dramatically, one of these two people is going to be elected November 8th. We're going to wake up on November 9th with a president that the vast majority of the American people can't stand. How does that person fix Washington?
Well,
how does that person claim a mandate when his or her unfavorability is going to be 57%?
I think that Hillary's unfavorability is far less deeply rooted than his. We've seen her very much admired at different points.
Yes,
and then when she goes under attack, we see her numbers come down and when there's controversy. But I think remember H.W. and Dukakis, George H.W. Bush and Dukakis, both were, by the end of that campaign, very much disliked. And then I think people tend to wipe the slate clean a little bit. You come in, you give a speech.
Pollsters are calling this historic hatred, is what they're calling.
I think that there's a lot of dislike, but I think it's topical dislike, and I think that she will have a chance. I believe she will win. I think she will have a chance to put a lot of that behind her and have people give her yet another look. And
quickly, do you?
It's historic hatred because it's historic venues that allow that venom to spew on both sides. But Hillary has been extremely popular when she goes to work. Once she goes to work, I think she's going to gain popularity, and I think it'll change.
Should I feel better now?
That's what I meant
hope
to
so.
say.
Shannon O'Brien, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
Scott Lehigh, you as well.
Thanks,
Take care. Talk to you soon.